Hi, and welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm Randy Rossilli, sitting in for Coach Carsich. I have with me Coach Bluler of the cross-country team. This was Coach's first year as the head coach. Coach, how many years were you with us prior to being the head coach?
I've been here 2 years now, and I volunteered, but this is the first year that I worked as a head coach here. But I have 25 years experience from Parsippany High School in cross-country, winter track, and spring track.
Are you a runner yourself?
No more.
No more?
I'm a walker now, no more.
That way. You burn better calories that way.
Yeah,
anyway.
well, too many aches and pains as I get older, but I ran a lot when I was younger.
There was a transition definitely going from Parsippany to coming to Passaic Valley.
Yes.
Talk about that first, coming years and years in one program, now coming to a new program.
Well, what I see, it's like when I started in Parsippany, it's just trying to get people to buy into it. It's a little bit of a change. I volunteered in cross country last year, and then I volunteered the last 2 years with winter and spring. So the transition being a volunteer to being in charge, maybe a little bit different for the kids. And I have expectations of what they can do. I know what they can do and what they're capable of doing. So that's what we're trying to make the transition to.
So you did have a little bit of a pre-knowledge coming into the season because
Yes.
you were with them last year. How had your expectations for the players or the runners change when the season started, now that you were the head coach?
Well, going into the season, I thought that we would even do better than we did, but we made progress. Everybody bettered their times. Everybody saw a lot of progress being made, and in the end, I was happy what happened. Okay, could we have done better? Yes, but it's going to take a little bit of time.
Well, you're building a program.
Right, we're trying to make the transition to buy into doing a little bit. What we did, we took the kids to more invitational meets, something that they weren't used to going to. So it's more of a time commitment, okay? And maybe that was part of the transition period that we were going through.
Well, practice is practice and the games are the games, but I always say that the games are won off the field, and the pre-work that you do off season really does translate into a more successful season. How are your students, or how are your runners prepared coming into the season?
Well, we met all of July and August. We met three times a week, twice in the morning, once at night. So we were well prepared going into the season. And we did a lot of training at Garra Mountain, as well as worked here at night on Wednesday nights. Mondays and Fridays we meet at Garra Mountain, and we ran between 7-8 miles in the summer in the heat. But the kids got used to it, and we would break it down and do track work as well as doing distance work.
When you're competing, how long is the run for each competition?
It's 3.1 miles, or 5K.
A 5K.
Yes.
So you're doing 5Ks on a regular basis in your...
That's the actual
for your,
race.
Quote, games.
Yeah, but as far as practice is concerned, you do more than that.
Yeah, tell me about that. How do you prepare? Because the average person will say, well, how do you train for running? You run.
Right.
But I have to think that there's more than just running. What other things you guys do to prepare for a...
Well, what we do, again, in the beginning, you start out slow, but a mile becomes 2 miles, 3 miles. We can go up to almost 10 miles when we do it. And then what we'll do is do track work incorporated with the distance work, because the only way you're going to get better is by incorporating distance with speed, all right? And I think that's part of the transition, that some of the kids weren't used to that, and what we've tried to do is get them to understand that you got to run faster. You can run forever, but you got to run faster,
right.
And a little bit of weight training, as well as doing, different kinds of workouts help to make the kids better.
Stretching and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Before and after. Right.
Before and after. I think we have some B-roll, as a matter of fact. We have some footage of your students training, or of your players training.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Why don't we go to that right now?
This is PVHC.
That was pretty cool, wasn't it? Yeah. I think that was done by Aaron Yevis.
Yeah, Aaron was at the tractor one day, yes.
He did a good job on that package. Overall, how would you say the season went?
It was good. I mean, we won 2 meets, all right, something that they had only won 1 meet prior to that. So the boys won 2 meets. Now, as a matter of fact, we even got an additional meet because I had an add-on meet. So we had 3 wins, and the girls won the first meet since 2011.
Oh,
so
really?
that was good. And we were competitive in the county. We finished like 10th out of 13 or 14 teams. And the sectional meet was the same. And the girls were competitive. I mean, we were able to field the girls' team, something that we hadn't done in a while.
that's
so
great.
that was good.
That's great. So you're building a new program, and I think that gives you a great, starting point. So you started at 10 this year. Next year you're looking at, let's get 8, let's get 7, and eventually you build up a culture, and a culture of winning. With that being said, some of your culture is going to be leaving. You have some seniors who are leaving. Talk to me about how your leadership, student leadership, is going to change in the upcoming year.
Well, we have a lot of kids coming back. I mean, Julio Sanchez is the lone senior. He's graduating, and he's going to be a loss because Julio had a very good year. But coming back, there are a lot of juniors that are coming back. R.J. Campbell's coming back, Aaron Papasavas. I have Pablo Arias, who's a sophomore. So on the boys' end, we lose 1 senior, and on the girls, we don't have any seniors. So the girls are coming back, and hopefully we can get some more kids to come out based upon what happened this year. I'm hoping anyway.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, you're involved in winter track and
Right.
in spring track. That's a great place for you to recruit as
Yeah,
well.
and we got a lot. Right now we had a meeting yesterday, 90 kids coming out for track. So with that, we'll see new faces, and we'll see what happens. Oh, by the way, I have two freshman boys that did very well this year too. Thomas LaJoy and Colby Salido. And Thomas is going to stay with it, and Colby does wrestling. And I don't know, he's in between whether he's going to do lacrosse or he's going to run track. So we'll see what happens there. So we have a start, and on the girls' end, I don't know. We'll see what happens with winter track, how many kids come out.
And for those who play spring sports or winter sports, doing this in the fall is great preseason training for them as well.
Yeah, well, where I've seen most of the success is like kids that participate in other sports in the fall, whether it be soccer or field hockey or basketball in the winter. If they make the transition to the spring, and then we get them in condition, they can do better. Most of my success were kids that were soccer players that played soccer in the fall. They didn't do cross country, but it carried over into the winter and spring season, and then they did very well.
Right. Well, running is something that you can do your whole life.
Right.
You were a runner until you said you became a walker.
Yeah.
Did you run in high school? Were you a track?
Yeah,
Remember the track team?
Track team all 4 years of high school, cross country, winter and spring, and I was a distance runner, and I did well.
So does your wife, she miss the fact that you're, that you don't run anymore?
Track gives her a headache. She feels I spend too much time with the track, but it's, like I said to you before, it's something that I enjoy. It's like my hobby. Some people play golf. I like coaching.
She should
track.
thank the track. After a while, she'd come home and she'd want you to go back to track.
She's glad to get me out of the house.
That's right. Talk to me about next year. We have, you said we're only losing 1 senior. Tell me about your expectations for next year's team.
Well, I think that the kids have all made good progress as far as times are concerned. I mean, the goal going into the season was for kids to break 19 minutes at Garrett Mountain. We had 2 kids go under 19 at Garrett Mountain. I was hoping that the girls would go under 23 minutes at Garrett Mountain. Well, that didn't happen, but we got kids coming back. So, I mean, those expectations are there for somebody to run better than in the low 18s or maybe break 17 for them to advance and to be able to go on and make the sectional. You can go to the state sectional meet, but to make the group meet, that would be an expectation that the goal we're working on. So those are my hopes for next year.
And you had that, and you have these team goals moving forward. I think that more and more of the students, even as I see our students here, with us, seem to be very attracted to being around you. You're a very positive person, a very positive.
I try to be, even though this year some people thought I was maybe a little bit too hard on them. But I mean, it was the transition period.
That's a coach's love, right?
Well, Carsich has a quote up from Tom Izzo, who's the coach. If I'm not, if I'm not pushing you, I'm shortchanging you. And I mean, I really feel that way. You know, you got to keep these kids pushing. And in this day and age, it's hard because there's so many other factors involved. So I mean, sometimes the expectations make what we want them to do, but we're trying to get them to do better.
Right.
So.
Well, Coach, I want to thank you for joining us here on Coach's Corner. I'm Randy Rossilli, sitting in for Coach Carsich. And join us next time when, hopefully, Coach Carsich will be here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. This is Coach Carsich with Coach's Corner, here with Miss Dempsey, our field hockey coach. How are you doing today, Miss Dempsey?
I'm doing great.
It's another great day to be a Hornet.
Exactly.
All right, let's get started. We hear that the way you captains were chosen this year was a little bit different this year than in years past. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, that is correct. I decided to have the girls work harder in the off season. I wanted to see which girls were going to step up and come to all the off-season activities, off-season leagues, and really show their leadership. So we waited till a week after preseason, and we really saw the girls step up and who the younger girls grew close to, and that's how we decided our captains this year.
That sounds great. How did it work out?
Wonderful.
By the season you had, it sounds like it did.
Yes.
In your opinion, what was the best part of the season?
Wow, that's hard to say because we were the little team that could. We were a team of rebuilding this year, and there were so many highlights of that season. But as a coach, beating Northern Highlands in over 7 years, having this little team that could overpower the little underdog, come and beat Northern Highlands, that was one of the best moments of the season.
That's awesome. That's great. Who were the players that led your team this year, and which players caught your attention the most?
Well, I would have to say my three captains, Mariah Tover, Sammy LaRusso, and Emily Hyde, they were the heart and soul of our team. They just brought everyone together. Those younger girls made them work up to their potential, and they just ran that team and brought it to a different level.
Awesome. That's great. What were your emotions when you found out that you earned a home game in the state tournament?
Wow, it was, when I found out all day long at work, I was smiling. The kids are, Miss Dempsey, you're so happy. I'm like, you guys, I have a home game. You know, telling family and friends and having them on the sidelines is a huge, huge help, and just enormous, overwhelming excitement for the game.
That was great. Even I got excited. I was looking on the online site, and it was going up live, and when I found out we had the 8th seed, I texted you immediately.
Yeah.
And I was probably just as excited as everybody else. How are you going to feel next year without this year's seniors? You had 4 years with them. I'm sure you had a great bond with them. What's it going to be like without them?
Well, you know, as every senior goes off and goes on to their new adventures in life, they are missed, but they leave behind the tradition, the passion, and they have a feeling that they're still there. We always, you know, recognize the seniors that have moved on in earlier practices, and we'll say, hey, this is for number 50 or this is for number 5. So they're always part of the PV family. Just because they graduated doesn't mean that they're not still there, and they still are. So yeah.
That is a great answer, and this being the first Coach's Corner, everyone's going to have to live up to that answer. That's great. What advice do you give to any players that are going to play in college? And do you have any girls that are going to play in college?
Yes, Mariah Tover is looking to play at Ramapo College.
Ramapo,
We're
yeah.
still waiting for her to get into the nursing program, but it looks pretty good. And my advice to them is just work as hard as you possibly can. You're leaving your PV family, but you're moving on to college, and you're going to create a whole new family and a whole new bond with them. And just, you know, work as hard as you did these 4 years, and you'll be successful at anything you do.
That's great. That's great advice. So, looking forward to next season, what improvements do you hope to see in next year's group?
Well, actually, Mr. Carsich, I looked through 5 games of video that my players recorded this season. And watching the hours and hours of footage as a coach, you're like, all right, I have the game plan for next year. So I already have it set in my head what players are going to be
Let's
playing.
not give it away. We don't want
Nope,
to give up
can't
too
give it
much
away.
for our opponents.
That's right. But I do have to say, next year, freshman Sydney Cummings is an up-and-coming rising all-star. So I'm looking to her to lead this team with Emily Hyde. They've been looked at college coaches already this year. So those two are really going to put a spark on the team and
Be your
continue
building
our
blocks for next year.
continue our tradition.
That's
Yep.
great. That's great. What are your overall thoughts on this season?
Well, like I said, the little team that could. I last year knew coming into this season it was rebuilding. We had 12 new players on varsity, so we had to really build from the bottom up. And like I said, the captains really took those younger players, and it was amazing the things that they accomplished this season. We had, beating teams that we didn't think we would beat. We beat Northern Highlands, we beat Northern Valley Demarest, and they were the Bergen County champs. So to knock off another championship team, that was a big accomplishment for us. And to have all of our award winners, we had 3 girls on first team all county, 3 girls on first team all conference, 2 on second, 2 on second team all conference, and then we actually had Mariah and Sammy all North Jersey, all state, second team. So when you go the year before looking at it as a rebuilding season, get all these accomplishments, it's awesome.
That's got to be a proud feeling.
Yeah.
That's really great. Now, the whole program in general, where do you see the Passaic Valley field hockey program going forward?
Well, we've always, been strong as a family and more teamwork, dedication, desire, but we have the Tri-Valley Feeder program, and I feel it's just going to keep, plugging along like the little train that could.
That's a great answer. That was a great interview. Thank you for coming today, Mr.
Thank
Dempsey.
you.
And it's another great day to be a Hornet, everyone.
See ya.